skill development, and at the same time, we are going to have it in relation with the NEP 2020. As we all know, I would like to even know from the participant, is the language English is okay, or we would like to have mix of Marathi as well as, or if the participants are from the other states, would they like to have it in Hindi too?
नाही ना मला 15 द्या ना 15.
Uh, I would request a few of your participants, those who have kept their mic on, to mute it, okay, so that we can start. So it is as we all know, that National Education Policy 2020 is something which, in its preamble itself, make it very clear that we are looking for a citizen who is going to be globally competent. When we talk about globally competent, it means that the today's student who is into the higher education must be able to have the basic skill set and at the same time the value system which we all have, should able to fit into any diversified, you may say, location, demography across you may say, the nation, at the same time internationally too. So the National Education Policy 2020 proposes a revision, and it's not only proposes revision, it's already into action today, and revamping of all the aspects of education, including the educational structure, regulations, at the same time the governance. It talks about to create a new system which is aligned with the aspirational goals of the 21st century student. So it is something where the aspiration of each and every individual, a citizen, okay, as a learner, has to kept into the mind what the youth is asking for, what sort of a skill set the youth is asking for, and whether the education system in which we are right now is able to give them and will make them competitive enough to compete with the international standards and 21st century skill set. Now, this 21st century skill set, as we all know, has gone multiple, means has gone in many folds if you see it out. And in that particular aspect, skill set is one of the core aspects which is going to make them globally competent and at the same time uh, work productive too. According to the policy 2025, at least 50% of the learners through the school and higher education system shall have exposure to vocational education. It's a big shift if we talk about, and when we say about a big shift, right now the gross enrollment ratio in the higher education is close to 20-21%. And at the same time, in the school education, the target is almost 100% enrollment in the schools, so that everyone gets into the minimum 12th grade education, and after that the university education. The moment we say the university education, the enrollment by 2035 is going to come up to 50%. That is what the target is. It's a humongous, or it's like mm, a target which is going to be a challenging one at the same time, because when we talk about NEP 2020, it is bringing a huge change in the perspective itself. And when we talk about the perspective, one of the major perspective which is going to be a big game changer is the skill development. 50% learners through the school to higher education system must be exposed to vocational, and that means something has to be done uh, in the school education system too, which is already being started, which is already there, and it is coming up in a big way, for which a clear action policy with targets and timelines are already developed and it is enforced. The policy aims to overcome the social status hierarchy associated with the vocational education and integration of vocational education into mainstream education in all the middle and the secondary school. It is something like the moment we say vocational, till now it was either associated with the technical or it was associated with, say, vocational boards. But for the first time, NEP 2020 is bringing vocational education into the mainstream education. Now that's a challenge, but it is going to be done in institution in a phased manner, beginning with vocational exposure at early ages in the school, in the middle school. Quality vocational education will be integrated smoothly from school to higher education. So it's already being started. It's already initiated in the school level that it has to come up because the nursery, the primary, the standard sixth onwards, it is proposed that it is coming up in a big way in the Kendriya Vidyalayas and other schools or CBSE schools and even in the state level schools where NEP is being accepted in totality. Maharashtra is one which has started this academic year with the lower grades, and probably in next 2, 3, 4 years it is going to be implemented up to standard 10th. And from sixth standard onwards, one basic skill a child has to pick up out of it has to be it is being mentioned that the must be given quite a many options, and out of that option the child has to pick up one, and he has to carry forward that skill till the time he passes out from the school. So once that culture is being imbibed in the school, it is going to be easier for the colleges to take pick up. So it will become a mainstream education. Right now, yes, there are challenges. Accepting vocational in the mainstream, even today, we are going to see that how we are going to overcome this challenge. That how vocational education has to be brought into the mainstream. As in the state of Maharashtra, previously we used to have uh, MCVC as vocational in the standard 11th and 12th, and lately we have given it equivalence to standard 11th and 12th. So, somewhere Maharashtra is already on the path of vocationalization, but NEP is giving it in a big way. In a phased manner, beginning as I mentioned, with vocational exposure at early ages in the middle and school, secondary school, quality vocational education will be integrated smoothly from school to higher education. Every child will learn at least one vocation and is exposed to several more. Yes, one is mandatory, but at the same time, he will be exposed to many of the vocational skills, and this will lead to the emphasizing the dignity of labor and importance of various vocations involving Indian arts and artmanship. The purpose of introducing vocational courses or skill based courses is not just about the employability, it's not just about making them entrepreneurs. It is, again, it is emphasized that they are going to be having certain values which are to be given to them, and they are going to have uh, value based vocational courses. Every child must learn, as it may, at the same time, the dignity of the labor. Today, we find it out the dignity of the labor is challenged, the dignity of the labor is questioned, grading wise, or the professions are being graded, or the choice of the career is being graded. And somewhere we find it out vocational courses or the skill development courses are being sidetracked. And this policy, this educational policy 2020, for the first time is bringing out that taboo out of it and bringing it into the mainstream. This would lead to emphasizing the dignity of labor, importance of various vocations involving Indian arts, and again, a lot of Indianization is being given a significance. A lot of Indian trade, Indian skills, art is going to be there and implemented. By 2025, or rather 2035, at least 50% of the learners through the school and higher education system shall have exposure of vocational education, for which a clear action plan is being made. by the Ministry of Education. Vocational education will be integrated in educational offerings of all secondary schools in a phased manner over next decade. Right now, 2025, in the next decade, in every school, a particular one vocational skill has to be picked up, though the child is going to be exposed to many, but one basic skill is what the whole education policy is aiming that a boy or the girl has to pick up, and it is to be done in the next decade. The development of vocational capabilities will go hand in hand with the development of academic and other capacities. Vocational is going to be one of the vertical, whereas previous, you may say, vertical, which was the capacity building in academics, at the same time other capacities, extracurricular activities and other, will go hand in hand. It's going to be something like what we can say coexisting. The mainstream education with the vocational education has to somewhere amalgamate it together so that we can give them the best of the education. To achieve this objective, secondary school will have to collaborate with. It has to be collaborated. It can't go in isolation. The secondary schools will be somewhere, you may say, has to make collaboration with ITIs, that is Indian Industrial Training Institutes, polytechnics, local industries, even skill labs will come up in a big way. As we already know, that through uttering green labs, schools are already being built in Maharashtra. Schools in Maharashtra are covered. Is one of the thought process to bring the innovation, research, development, and even developing the scientific temperament among the school-going children. A lot of funds are being put into it through NEP Aayog and other curriculum. Mentorship has come up in a big way. Local skills and local experts' knowledge has to be taken into consideration. As I've already mentioned, that the schools are going to be encouraged so that they can take help of the local industries, because it is the best way to connect with the local, and then one can think about the bigger things from local to the global. But getting into the local is first, and ITIs, industries, polytechnics, skill labs, as I already mentioned, hubs, and all this, which will allow other schools to use faculty in higher education. So it's something which is going to be done in the school domain first, because if that is being inculcated, if that is being somewhere nurtured very well in the school, probably higher education system or higher educational institutions will be benefited in a big way. So that nurturing and culture has to be brought into the schools, and I think which has already been started. The Maharashtra government, in principle, not only in the principle, but has been accepted in totality the recommendations made by the NEP 2020 in a very big way. So skill development is going to be the reality, and we have to see how this reality has to be brought into action. Higher education institution will offer vocational education either on their own or in partnership with industries or other institutions. Yes, we have technical universities, we have technical institutes, we do have vocationally, but in a very big way, we do have conventional universities and conventional colleges which offer art, science, commerce, or some other, you may say, vertical education, but they are far away from the technical and vocational education. So, a stigma which has to be broken down. Uh, basic, what we can say that education has to be holistic education, which will include vocational and skill development too. So that is the whole dream, and that is the whole purpose. So that we should able to make our students, our learners, competent enough so that they can take up the challenge which is going to come up through the global, you may say, situation, and we should able to make competent enough so that they can sustain the competition everywhere. As we know, there is a lot of, you may say, discussions in the academic galleries today that whatever technical educations are being given in the even in the technical institutes, for example, talking about the bachelor's in engineering or some other, we still find it out there are huge gap between what the industry is looking for and what the academy is offering. So there is a gap between the two. We are supposed to see that also in our today's talk, how we are going to make it more competent, how we are going to make it more industry friendly so that the employability rate or the campus placements, apart from the technical, because even NEP is going up in a big way in giving up the internships and the entrepreneur, you may say internship and internship to go for the completing the semester. Okay, that's again a different vertical which we are supposed to talk about. And as we all know, Ministry of Education has a very what I would say a well planned phased manner articulation of the things which is coming up in a big way. What exactly the recommendations is in the National Education Policy 2020? We may be knowing quite a many, since this whole program is designed to sensitize you about the National Education Policy 2020 and to make our stakeholders, particularly the teachers who are going to be the facilitators of all this teaching learning process, must know what is there into it. So, in a nutshell, I will try to cover it up and then we'll go to the mainstream subject, that is NEP 2020 and skill development. As we all know, the first step in the higher education, which is going to become a game changer, is no hard separation between art, science, between curricular and extracurricular activity, between vocational and academic systems. So that one aspect, and it has to be started right from the schools where multidisciplinary approach, where interdisciplinary approach is going to come up in a big way. The choice is for the first time is is given to this learner. Till now it was all a teacher centric approach. Probably this approach is going to be more of a student centric approach, which is going to make a huge difference. A science graduate can ask for a subject from the arts, and an arts graduate can ask for a subject from a science. A science graduate can ask some a subject from engineering, or an engineering can ask for a subject of philosophy or psychology for that matter, or a history or political science, whatever it may be. But no hard separations. It may be a graduating in a very, what I would say, general degree at the end of the day. Curriculums, extracurricular, even in the school now. It's all starting in the school so that it comes very well in the university level or the college level very well. So the hard separations are being taken away from the schools itself, like extracurricular activity and curricular activities. The moment I say extracurricular activities, previously science, art, music, they were treated as extracurricular activities. Today, that has been broken. That compartmentalization has been taken away. Now, your science, your music, art, craft, other things are not going to be termed as extracurricular. They will be very much the part of the curriculum. So they will come into the mainstream education, which was otherwise missing, which was, we used to find it out that they are missing, and the parents don't give that much of a significance to such type of curriculum, which is not involved in their ranking, which is not involved into their aggregate mark system. So yes, it is going to bring a change, and that change is going to be no hard separations between arts, science, between curriculum, extracurricular, between vocational and academic. In order to eliminate harmful hierarchies among, it is basically designed that there would be no separations as such. The moment we say no separation, it makes the learning much more joyful. Today we find it out. The problem with the school system is Whether the education is joyful or not, there's a big question. And that's the reason at times we are finding it out the enrollment in the schools or the children are being forced to send to the schools. The reason behind probably NEP is going to bring a huge change in the school system as we all see it is happening in a big way. Since the approach from the teacher centric approach to a student centric approach has already moved on, and that moving on is going to bring that sort of happiness which the school must bring in teaching learning. Probably, yes, which was not happening. Let's hope through the NEP 2020. As we all know, it's very well articulated document. There are a lot of aspirations which has raised now. A lot of expectations has come up in a big way that it's going to bring out a very radical change in the education system, no doubt, a radical, but in a very systematic manner. A concerned national effort is being made to ensure universal access and offered opportunities of children of the country to obtain quality, holistic education, including vocational education from preschool to grade 12. So it's a very big step. The moment I say a very big step, uh, every child has the right to have good education, has right to education, has made it very clear up to the age of 14. It's a mandatory, compulsory, free education for the children. At the same time, now we are going a step ahead when we are saying that ensuring you must have universal access. At the same time, everyone must able to afford the opportunity so that the children and the country obtains the best and the holistic education, including the vocational. We just can't say about the academics and academics. It must have vocational education, and that too from preschool to grade 12. The secondary stage will comprise of 4 years of multidisciplinary studies. As we all know, that's what the graduation package is all about. Building on subject oriented pedagogies, curriculum styles of middle stage, but with great depth, attention to life aspirations. Probably, yes, for the first time, what a learner aspires to be. Till now, it was all about what we can offer. I think now it is just a reversal. What the learner wants to learn. What is his aspiration? What is his expectations? What he wants to be? That is again coming up in front. What is my life aspiration? The life aspiration. What is my objective of my life? What I want to be, career, my growth, my objective, my life goal, all that is coming up in the focus. At the same time, the students will have flexibility and student choice of subject, as I have mentioned. It's going to be a big change. The moment I say student choice of subjects, and it is starting right from standard 8 onwards, it's a it's a something at this point of a time we can't imagine, but yes, it's going to be the reality where the students are going to pick up the subjects. And the moment I say the students are going to pick up the subject, it means they are going to pick up the teachers. Because it's the responsibility of the teachers to make the subjective interesting, to make that subject wanted by the children, to see that the inquisitiveness is created, see that the questioning is being created, and the children get the best out of that particular subject. So, from a teacher centric approach to a student centric approach. That makes the huge difference, a paradigm shift, I would like to say. In particular, students will continue to have options of exiting after grade 10. You still have an option because we are talking about multiple exit and multiple entries too. So you have that opportunity of exiting grade 10, re-entering in the next phase to pursue vocational or any other courses available in grade 11 and 12, including a more specialized school That is what is being done and proposed too. Students will be given increased flexibility and choice of subjects to study, particularly in secondary level. That is what I have mentioned. Standard 8th onwards, it's going to be more of choice based. Yes, we have introduced in the degree colleges today choice based, but it is going to be more. And as I mentioned, the choice is going to be beyond, uh, uh, I would say, beyond restricted number of subjects, beyond a buffet which is to be offered. It is going to be that this choice is going to be with the learner. Yes, as I mentioned, maximum choices has to be offered to the child, and that will need a very close observation of the child physical, mental, emotional development too. And that needs quite an observation. How the child growing on these three vital parameters, which is going to make his personality a holistic personality. So it's not going to be just the intellectual development. It is also going to include the fine psychomotor skills, emotional maturity, at the same time, the physical development of the child too. So various milestones which are to be achieved at the appropriate age and appropriate grade, yes, and the flexibility with which the subject is going to be taken care, particularly in higher secondary school, including subjects in physical education for the first time in the history of national education policy. We all know that this policy is not the only policy. Before that, we were having so many policies which have came into existence. This has came after almost 35 years of the last education policy. This policy, for the first time in the history of Indian, you can say, post independence, is giving specific emphasis on physical education. And that physical education has to start early in the schools. Now, the moment I say physical education, it's giving an emphasis. It says, and it categorically says, 45 minutes of physical exercise every day is mandatory for a child to go through. It's a huge game changer where in every policy in the previous used to focus on the mental development of a child. Yes, that is significant. The mental development is significant. It has its own you may say importance. But without the development of the physical, even if there is a huge cognitive development which takes place, probably it is not going to be sustainable. It's not going to go last. If the physical harmony, if the physical health is compromised at a level, intellectual growth will not going to help us more. And that's the reason 45 minutes every day physical exercise. I'm saying physical exercise. It may be march past, it may be running, it may be sports activities, but outdoor sports activities, which may include indoor too, where you can have basketball, handball, badminton, and other physical games. But outdoor activities are equally encouraged, and that is going to make a huge change, which says physical education. Every child has to go through it, right from the pre-primary to the standard 12th. And I am assured that this culture is going to be encouraged in the university and the institution of higher education too, where physical education is not going to be a deprived department or unwanted type of a department, but it is going to be the part and the parcel of the whole education system, even at the university and institution of higher education. Because physical health is is the paramount significant. If we are thinking of Viksita Bharat by 2047, a lot many things have to be done on physical education. encouraging physical education, or bringing it at par with the other subjects too, because we know sports is one most neglected or rather underrated subject in the academic fraternity today. Children are not encouraged to go into the sports, but rather they are encouraged to pick up the subject because mathematics, English, science, other subjects as being shown as the doorway for their career success. But with poor physical health, we just can't build on higher intellectual health for sure. We are going to discuss about this also if the time permits to us. But physical health is one of the element which is made mandatory. It's no more optional. It's no more choice anymore. It is mandatory. The curriculum, the timetable right from the school must have one period every day for the physical. At the same time, it talks about arts and the craft and the vocational skills. The moment I say arts and the craft and the vocational skills, typically the Indian education system was focusing on cognitive development, that to the left part of the brain more rather than the right part of the brain. There's some, you may say, what we can say, miscalculation, where the child was given significant importance in remembering, memorizing, and reproducing. And that can be done with the left part of the brain excellently, extraordinary, very well. And our exam system was also previously were focused on memorization. And memorization is done perfectly when we are focusing on the left part of the brain. This educational policy, National Education Policy 2020 is giving significant importance to imagination, to curiosity, to visualization. And that's the reason art and craft has come up in a big way. Again, these subjects are not going to be treated as extracurricular subjects. They are going to be the part of the curriculum where standard, you may say, time is going to be allotted, where the child can go and do the art, can do the crafts. In a big way, the music is going to come up in a big way apart from the physical education and vocational skills too. Because vocational skills are not learning a specific skill. There are too many byproducts of these vocational skills. Hands-on experience, the child gets a lot of confidence, working in a team, working on a project. So there are many other byproducts and by outcomes too, which we can't just neglect. So that they can design their own paths of study and life plans too. Education should able to give them the insight, what they are capable of, what they can do the best, what are their strengths, what is that motivates them, what is their uh, life goal is all about. Yes, education should become that instrument where they find themselves transforming. And that is what the Education Policy 2020 is aiming to do at this point of a time. Integration of vocational education programs into mainstream education in a phased manner. I know it's not easy integrating vocational into mainstream. There is a lot of rigidity, there is a lot of prejudices, there are a lot of pre-assumptions, there are a lot of, I would say, misunderstanding how subjects are going to be merged into the mainstream. We are going to learn that also today, including beginning with vocational exposure at early ages in middle and uh, you may say secondary schools. It has to be done, and it has to be done in a systematic, sensitized way, not flooding them, but going by piece rate system, bit by bit, from standard 6, 7, 8 onwards. As we all know, Lokavidya is important vocational knowledge developed in India. We had a rich heritage, we had a rich culture, We had a rich handicrafts. We have Loka Vidya in every province, in every taluka level, in every district. We have our Loka Vidyas and Loka Kalas. NEP is revisiting, NEP is bringing it back, the roots in the education by the mean of Loka Vidya. Developed in India will be made accessible to students through integration into vocational courses. As we all know, every you may say taluka or the district, whether it's a tribal, non-tribal, has their rich heritage and culture. They have their handicrafts in a big way. But sadly, today we find them, they are getting vanished. NEP 2020 is re-establishing our roots and bringing that Lokavidya back and upfront. Vocational education will be integrated in all schools and higher education institutions, as I mentioned, in a phased manner over the next decade. So nobody is in a hurry to flood it out to just make it mandatory for everyone. No, it's going to be phased manner, pilot studies, pilot projects, seeing the impact of it, how much successful they are. It's going to be phased manner. It's going to be step by step and we are going to make a difference into it. Focus areas for vocational education will be chosen based on the skill gaps. Absolutely. As I've already mentioned, there are skill gaps, and we need to see these skill gaps are being taken care. As I mentioned in my earlier opening statement, that the industries are not very happy with the existing skill sets which the learners have. We need a lot of upgradation. We need a lot of what I would say hands-on experience with the state of art of technology. At times we find it out the syllabus is outdated, whereas the industry is marching ahead with new demands, and that gap goes too much, and that gap makes it really difficult for the learner to get an appropriate job. We are going to focus on that also in our today's talk. Definitely, that focus areas will be chosen based on the skill gaps and gap analysis, mapping of the local opportunities. Every industry, every local, you may say, district or the state has basic local opportunities. Now, as we all know, Ministry of Human Resource Development, previously known as, today we know it as a Ministry of Education, will constitute a national committee for the integration of vocational education, which is already being done, consisting of experts from vocational education and representative from across ministries. Now, the moment I say across ministries, it means almost 21 ministries have done the collaboration with each other. It may be the Ministry of Road and the Safety, it may be the Ministry of Airlines, it may be the Ministry of what we can say, um, um, petroleum and chemical and petroleum development. There are 21 industrial ministries, those who are going to collaborate, they are going to brainstorm over it, and a vocational integration of vocational education committee is being constituted across ministries in collaboration with industry to across to oversee this effort. Industries are going to play a big role when it comes to the committee constituted, where 21 ministries have came up together. Different models of vocational education and apprenticeships will also be experimented in higher education. As we all know, you are the part of the higher education and you are working into universities and colleges. A semester is completely dedicated for apprenticeship and internship today. Every course, whether it is art, science, commerce, vocational, non-vocational, whether it is technical, non-technical, medical, paramedical, whatever it may be, a semester is dedicated, and that semester is going to make the learner to have hands-on experience. 6 month tenure is not a small tenure. It's quite a big tenure. where the child or the learner has to move from the educational territory, from the campus or a college campus or a university campus, get into the industries, whether it is service industry, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is hospitality, whether it is health, whether it is some other, one has to pick up. And that internship is going to give us a hands-on experience, as I already mentioned, and it's going to make the learner aware where the learner is standing today in the labor market or in the job market today. Because ultimately, everyone needs a secure, enriching type of a job or a career choice, which can come into force by doing apprenticeships or the internships and also experiment in a higher education institution. Incubation centers have come up in a big way in universities today. Innovation centers have come up in a big way, and institutions in partnership with industries have come up in a big way. Many universities, even in private universities and conventional universities, do have a memorandum of understanding with the industries. The curriculums are being designed today, keeping into the demands and the need of the market, what the market is looking for, so that the basic gap between the industry and the academia can be reduced. And that makes a huge difference because that is going to make the learning more interesting at the enriching at the same time. The national skill qualification framework is detailed further for each discipline, vocation, and profession for everyone, whether the child is learning in a typical arts, commerce, or into the science. The national skill qualification framework is being put in place, and profession. Further, Indian standards will be aligned with the international standards. Now, that is something great. That is something I think as a academician, I should feel proud of it that this national skill qualification framework will be aligned with the international standard classification of occupational maintained in the International Labor Organization, the ILO. It should somewhere match when it synchronizes, when it has a proper synergy, then probably yes, the basic purpose, the preamble of higher education in NEP that we would like to make our child a world competent, global competent, so you may say manpower. And it will happen only when our skill set or when our skill qualification framework matches with the International Labour Organization's requirement. Two, this framework will provide the basis of recognition of prior learning. Sometimes we may need equivalent certificates. Sometimes we need to give them gradings as per the international standards. The credit-based framework will be facilitate mobility across general and vocational education. Since we are breaking that uh, what I would say, breaking the gaps or breaking the windows or the large walls which were being created and high separation between the academic and other degrees or vocational or non-vocational. Now that is not going to remain as such. It's going to be completely withdrawn. It's going to be in a synergy where the child is going to learn across the specializations, across the what I would say subjects, streams, faculties. It's going to be a quite holistic learning process. And what is the way forward? Because bringing vocational education into the mainstream education is challenging. It's not going to be easy. There are going to be quite a many challenges. I've listed a few challenges, and I'm also going to suggest to you what are the ways ahead to make the parent, the stakeholders sensitize about it, and how to bring out that taboo out of it that vocational education cannot fit into the mainstream. Yes, it can fit into the mainstream education, but in a phased manner. As what is the way forward, as I was talking about, the national education policy actually has the potentially an explosive growth of vocational education in our country, since it requires all educational institutions to integrate vocational education into their offerings. Every institution, irrespective of their specialization, irrespective of their domain, subject domain or knowledge domain, has to introduce vocational and they have to offer it to the learner. This will bring a very large number of schools, colleges, and universities into the fold of potential vocational education. If you see, there is a lot of opportunities which are going to be generated, a lot of employability can come into force, a lot of skill set hands coming into the conventional universities and the colleges. So there is a lot of potential and potential vocational education training will come up into it. Every teacher who is right now listening to me will have an extra edge, will have an edge in learning something new. Probably, yes, we have to learn beyond our own subject knowledge too. And that is what the challenge is. And we are going to talk on that also. At the same time, providing during the coming decade and making the vocational education available to millions of students. Probably in the whole of the world and as in a community, we have the youngest mind, both by the mind and the physical. And we are going to have the biggest market, vocational educational market, if we look into it. What are the challenges? Let us see what challenges we are going to face, rather, we are right now facing it, and how we can overcome. The first and the foremost challenge is overcoming social status, hierarchy, associated with the vocational education. As I started in my beginning, as I stated in my beginning statement, that there is, I would not say prejudice, but there is certain assumptions already about the hierarchy associated with the vocational, how it is going to be possible, because people have not graded vocational education to a level where they have graded to the academics. Vocationals were always secondary, whereas the academic subjects were always the primary or the focus. So the acceptability itself that bringing this vocational education into the mainstream, the acceptability itself is challenging. How you are going to do it? Because vocational is something which is vocational, which has to do something with the technical education. How are you going to bring it out into your arts, into your commerce, and into your science fraternity or into your faculties? Yes. How we can do it? There are certain action things which we can bring into it. Organization of awareness programs. Yes, it has to be done in a big way. Making people or the learner aware, as we are doing it on today's, you may say, on an online platform. The whole purpose of this orientation program is sensitizing you, because you are the people those who are going to take national education policy on practical on ground level. You are going to be the one who is going to bring out that change which we are looking for. So sensitizing you first, because it should reach to you first. What is the purpose of national education policy? What is, as an education ministry, is looking from the teachers? And yes, teachers are not going to be any more teachers. They are going to be the facilitators. We are going to discuss about the role of a teacher also, definitely. But first and the foremost thing, if we really want to bring out that hierarchy associated with the vocational education, organization of awareness campaigns, programs, change the general perception and attitude toward the vocational education. Because there is an attitude. An attitude is, if you are not able to do your regular academics, go to the skill set, go to the vocational. Now that has to be broken, that has to be changed, and an attitude has to be changed. The perspective has to be changed. An outlook has to be changed. A new perspective has to be brought into it. And how you will bring out that new perspective is when you are going to sensitize, when you are going to create the awareness that how the mainstream education and the vocational education can go hand in hand. Vocational exposure to the children from grade 6 is the beginning, as I've already mentioned. Yes, it's going to begin in the school. Whatever rigidity, whatever negative attitude, whatever thought process which is affecting the attitude of taking up the vocational courses into the mainstream is going to be broken at the school level itself because it's going to be introduced in the school. Sixth standard onwards, I still remember in early 1980s and 90s, the CBSE, ICSE schools used to offer initially skill development courses in shape of social, useful, productive work, where the basic electrician, basic plumbing, basic stitching, basic embroidery were taught, were given to the students. I don't know where it has gone now, but it is coming up again in a big way, which does not need a huge setup, but an attitudinal change is what we are looking for, and that is what is going to be brought. And the earlier, the better. When there is a fine motor skill, adjustment, coordination, when the mind and the body is stable to a greater extent, and they can do psychomotor skills much better. And that's the reason I think the Ministry of Education is introducing the skill set at the stage number 6, at standard number 6, not earlier than that, where the hand and the body coordination is still has to be perfected. But from sixth onwards, it comes closer to the perfection, not the perfection itself, but it comes close to the perfection. So that skill set has to be brought into it, and it is going to be started in the sixth standard onwards in all secondary and higher secondary schools. Yes, all schools, pan India, because the universality that accept the syllabus, universal syllabus, curriculum design, and again the evaluation. It can't done in partial, and it can't done in some states and not done in other states. It has to be done in all across India, right from the secondary to higher secondary. No doubt, education is the subject of the state government, but most of the state governments, as far as the skill development initiative is concerned in the national education policy, has accepted in totality that yes, we need, no doubt, it will need huge infrastructure investment, which will be taken care lately. Information education, communication, and media campaigns. Yes, as we all know, what is the significance of media campaigning today? What is the role of social media today? It can be used widely to sensitize, to bring, to break that prejudices, to break that, um, what I would like to say, the stigma which has been created can be taken care through the media. Media is a powerful tool. The only thing is how it is being utilized, how it is being put forth, how it is being taken care. Yes, it will make a huge impact through the digital, say, influence. Preparation and distribution of brochures, as we all know, pamphlets, video shows on vocational education and courses. Awareness has to be created, and it will be created in shape of spreading the information, reaching out to the learners in whatever possible way. It may be through leaflets, it may be through brochures, it may be through pamphlets, it may be through small videos explaining the significance of skill development or the vocational courses, how they are significant and integral part of your life journey as a learner. Somewhere we have to bring out it close to the heart of the learner. It has to be convinced. It has to be not forced. It has to be done in a very settled way where the learner becomes receptive to the ideas, not just because they are vocational, but they find it out. It is meaningful to add on to their curriculum, to add on to their what I would say course, to their journey of learning. The first one is how to overcome. The second one is integrating vocational education with general education with focus on social inclusion, gender equality, and inclusive education. Now, this is also a challenge. How we are going to integrate vocational education with general education, with focus on social inclusion, gender equality, at the same time, inclusive education. How we are going to do it? As I already mentioned, yes, the first step can be introduction of skill-based activities from preschool to standard 12. Yes, that is going to make an impact. That yes, this is the part of the curriculum itself. This is there in our ecosystem of education. This is not something which is alien, which has just come up in the higher education. No, if we start doing it out at the school level, probably the receptivity of learning a skill in a higher education will become easier. Reforming curriculum through enhanced content of vocational knowledge. Yes, we have to give a very good curriculum and it has to have the content of vocational knowledge and skills, better course alignment with skill standards and interdisciplinary content and connections. Yes. Now that is what the skill is going to be required. How we are going to make it that this content of the vocational knowledge and the skills are aligned with the skill standards and it is interdisciplinary content. As I mentioned, the national education policy today talks about interdisciplinary, it talks about multidisciplinary, it talks about not just the specialization, but multiple subjects coming into the force and making an impactful study. Developing workplace related skills and attitudes through internship on the job training. Now, that is something interesting. On job training, hands on learning, a lot of practical and experiential based learning. That is going to make the difference when it's going to be about the vocational education or the skill education. If we are able to do that, the hands-on experience is going to give a deeper insight to the learner whether he has picked up the right choice. As we know that NEP gives us the opportunity of multiple exit and multiple entry. It gives us a wide spectrum choice of subjects too. Then the hands-on experience on the internship or on the apprenticeship is going to add to the vocational education too. Introduction of vocational interest inventories. Yes, we need to do certain psychological testings. We should understand the basic skill set of the child. We should understand what ability the child has. The hidden potential has to be understood. The interest of the child has to be somewhere brought to the surface level. Where? What is the interest of the child? Whether he is interested in going with the academics, subjects, or whether he has an inclination towards vocational or certain skill different, whether he has the intention or the ability to going for the sports, language development. There are many, many interest inventories which the psychologists have prepared, and they all are standardized. They all are standardized on Indian population across the culture, so they are culturally non-biased. They can be examined, and since I have said they are standardized, that means they have all the reliability and the validity in the world, and the interpretations are being taken care of. But it has to be initiated at an early age, and that early age can be anywhere between standard 8 onwards. Skill based aptitude tests. Yes, that is quite handy in understanding the hidden potential, the hidden abilities. Now, these abilities are just abilities until and unless they are not being trained. They just remain as an ability. But the moment through a very specific diagnostic tool or through various psychological standardized tests, the moment we come to know the hidden potential of the child, which was never upfront or never known to anyone, we can shape up, we can navigate, we can guide the child about the hidden potential in the sector of the skills. And in grade from onwards, we can have proper guidance, awareness, making them aware of their career choices. So early intervention is always welcome. If the school starts doing the interest inventories, if the school starts from standard 8 onwards, working on the basic aptitudes of the child, it may be musical aptitude, it may be mechanical aptitude, it may be clerical aptitude, it may be scientific temperament aptitude. There may be many, many aptitudes which can be gauged out, judged out. And according to the basic ability, if they are being trained further, probably yes, it's going to make a huge difference. As I've already mentioned, somewhere in my initial thoughts, that early intervention always helps. And that early intervention in shape of having standardized psychological tests will definitely help a child to know the hidden potential. And then it would be more guided type of education and guided type of learning experience, more fruitful, more enjoyable, where the child is going to have happiness out of learning because he is working on the interest which he likes, at the same time, the potential with which he is having. Ensuring that qualifications are relevant to perceived social and economic needs, national occupational standards to be defined and by agreed learning outcomes and applied constantly across all institutions. It's going to match with all the institutions. It can't just go with individual particular institutions. No, it has to match with all the institutions across so that the validity remains the same, so that the learner is on the same page, so the system is on the same page. Focus on good practices and innovations by teachers and teaching learning. Now, yes, there are going to be certain good practices. As we all know, NAC always asks for the best practices. At the same time, we can have good practices too. And these good practices will be focusing on innovation. And these innovations are going to be done by the teachers in teaching learning. That means NEP is looking for from you is not just teaching, but also looking towards you as the future innovators. You are supposed to do innovation. You have to bring a change in pedagogy, in methodology, in teaching learning too, as we all are using digital technology in a great way today. Using so much of technology today in learning has made it more enjoyable at times. Yes, of course, but the innovation lies with the teacher. The teacher has to innovate new ideas, has to create new opportunities, has to make the teaching learning enjoyable. If that is done, probably, yes, we are going to make a huge difference. Ensuring private sector partnership, yes, that is going to make a huge, we just can't live in isolation. As an academic institution, gone are the days when you will say that I am all alone and I am sufficient. No, we have to take up the responsibility. We have to make a private sector participation mandatory. That should be a visionary document for us, that how we are going to collaborate with the private sector. Because private sector is one very, very predominant sector. We just can't live in isolation. We just can't live on one quality. We have to see how the private partnership is going to bring a change in the education arena. And that is going to make it our job easier if we are able to make out private partnership with the institutions other than the education but the industries. Introducing Lokavidya, indigenous knowledge and skill in schools through vocational education. It's easy to say that bring Lokavidya. It's easy, but it's challenging. How we are going to overcome this challenge of introducing Lokavidya, indigenous knowledge and skill in schools through vocational education? Yes, we can do it. First and the foremost thing which we are supposed to do is identifying local vocational craft for organizing internship for students on indigenous practices. We have to identify what we have to identify local vocational crafts. What are the vocational crafts? शायद ऐसा भी हो कि हम भूल भी गए होंगे वो शायद हिस्ट्री में चला गया हो शायद उसको पुनर्जीवित करना हो शायद कुछ ऐसी कलाएं हैं जो अब कला हमें नहीं दिख रही हैं शायद उसके करता धरता भी कोई रहा ना हो अभी हमें ढूंढना होगा वी हैव टू सर्च वी हैव टू फाइंड आउट द लोकेशनल वोकेशनल क्राफ्ट फॉर ऑर्गेनाइजिंग इंटर्नशिप शायद ऐसा हो कि बहुत इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज्ड नहीं हो शायद इंडिविजुअल स्पेसिफिक हो वी हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स ऑन indigenous projects. We have to identify local experts and conducting internship training for students. Yes, as I've already mentioned, it may not be institutionalized way of training, but we may have handful trainers, handful experts, may not be postgraduates in their respective subjects, but enriched in their skill set. But they may have carrying the tradition from years together of making that particular craft or making that particular skill set. Yes, we have to organize, identify these experts. Conducting internship training for the students, probably yes. As we talk about Warli painting in Maharashtra, today it is coming up in a big way. It has become a fashion trend in most of the rich Banglo societies or in the tourism sector where the hotel industry, hospitality is being concerned. It's coming up in a big way. The Warli painting, which was uh, forgotten at times, now is coming resurfacing in a big way. Identifying these basic skill sets and experts, hiring them for a internship project will go in a big way. Community and industry partnership for the vocational exposure through informal internship program. Everything cannot be formal, formal, formal. Something can be informal also, and that can be through community engagement, industry partnership, or the vocational exposure through informal internship program. We need not to have all the things formal, but something can come with informal also. Facilitating horizontal mobility, vocational students in school. Now that's again a challenge. How you are going to facilitate horizontal mobility? Collaborating with industry training is one way. Institutes, polytechnics, local business industries, hospitality, hospitals, agriculture farms, local artists, NGOs, through with different hubs and inspiring, imparting skill learning and training. Yes, we can do it. If there is a will and if there is a thought process to it, we can definitely collaborate with industrials, training in the institutions, polytechnics, local experts, local business industries, hospitals, hospitals and hospitality industries too. That will take away that how we are going to bring that horizontal mobility. Integrating new age skill, 21st century skills, and entrepreneurship education in the schools. Now that's a big challenge how we are going to integrate new age skills because that is what we talk about. That is what is the talk of the town today. How artificial intelligence is going to be implemented. How robotics is going to come in a big way. How digital technology is going to come up in a big way. skills and internship education in the schools. How we are going to do it? Again, we have the ways. That means integrating employability skills at all stages of school education. All these skill sets has to be collaborated with the employability skills. Because what was the failure, if we talk about, of the conventional education? I was reading somewhere that today, when we talk about the unemployability, and if you go by the statistics, a staggering statistic data says more than 50% of the unemployed youth today are graduates. Isn't it shocking? Yes, it's shocking. The graduates are unemployed. That means somewhere we are not able to integrate employability skills at the school and the school education itself. Forget about the higher education. We have to see that how we are going to bring employability skills with our education system. That means we have to make our vision very clear. That what is the purpose of education? For what purpose the education is being given? And if that is clear, because if we are talking about aspiration of the 21st century youth today, what is the purpose of the education? And if the purpose of the education is clear, very clear, that we have to give them employability skills, then we have to see that these aspirations are fulfilled somewhere. Integrating new technologies with vocational educational institutes, preparing students for industries, introducing vocational courses on new and emerging skill demands,
Sir, you're not audible, sir, on Zoom. Mhm. You're, I think we should cut the phone. Uh, Sir, you can speak now.
नहीं, अभी तो मेरे को आपका आवाज आ रहा है. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, now I can hear you.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So there was some technical issue when it is like with the network. So we were talking about the challenges and how we are going to overcome. So how we are going to integrate new age skills, 21st century skills internship. So we have talked about it that yes, integrating employability skills with what is our purpose, what is our objective when we talk about aspiring skills for the 21st century. What is the purpose of our education? Probably, I think, yes, it will going to make a huge difference. We have to. Hello?
Sir, participant are muted, sir. Should I unmute them?
No, no, no. It's perfectly fine.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So when we are talking about it, yes, introducing vocational courses on new and emerging skills demand for the industry, such as artificial intelligence, robotics, internet for thinking will be introduced, and enterprise education will be promoted from grade 6 onwards. And that is what is being done in the school today and school education, where grade 6 onwards, we have coding, decoding coming in a big way, and artificial intelligence is coming in a big way. STEAM and Atal Twinkling Labs are making the job easier, and it is introduced from the sixth standard onwards, promoting online and open vocational education. As I think somewhere the pandemic has given us the platform where online education has come up in a big way, introducing new learning methods and digital tools like massive open line courses, flipped learning, and virtual learning methods will be used for training teachers. Hybrid we have to be with the state of art hybrid methods, as most of the teaching learning nowadays are happening on the hybrid, and that's the way we are supposed to look forward. Developing and implementing holistic assessment and evaluation system, it's going to make a big difference, because that's the challenge, how we are going to make holistic assessment and evaluation system. The moment I say holistic and assessment and evaluation system, it has to be done across India. It has to be done across demography, across the states. We are supposed to conduct, as I already mentioned, conduct interest assessment, aptitude tests to measure special abilities or readiness for learning in various vocational areas. We have to assess, we have to check the aptitude. And as I mentioned, yes, there are quite a many standardized psychological instruments which are available, which can be used across India through the culture, and that will make a huge difference. Measuring the achievement of learning outcomes through various tools and methods, such as checklists, group work, peer assessment, worksheets, presentations, student portfolios for 360-degree assessment and evaluation of the student. Yes, a complete 360-degree peer rating, raters, you may say, assessment, project-based learning, project-based learning is something which is the integral part of the national education system. And this project-based learning is coming up in a big way right from the schools. And when we say project-based learning, it is multiple disciplinary approach, studying a single problem from various perspectives, from various subjects, and that is going to make an impact. And I think we should see that this project-based learning is being taken care even in the colleges and the university level too, fostering vertical mobility of vocation. As we have seen horizontal, the challenge is how we are going to move vertical also. What is going to be given every year so that the interest of the child remains in the vocational? Now that's the challenge. The child who is learning right from the sixth standard onwards on the skill set, we are expecting that he is going to go into the college, university. What sort of a difficulty level we are going to give? What vertically we are going to promote? The courses under the National Skill Qualification Framework or the National Higher Education Qualification Framework shall provide for the vertical mobility in the students with vocational subjects right from the school level to the university level. Yes, the degree of what difficulty, and at the same time maintaining the inquisitiveness, maintaining that uh, curiosity should be there. Otherwise, we will fail. We have to see that the curriculum is designed in such a way that I feel encouraged to pursue it for my higher degrees also, with my higher promotions, right from the sixth standard to my 12th. It's a challenge. It's not easy. It may be 120 hours of a course, maybe 150 hours a course, maybe a 6 month, once in a week, right from giving them the what I will say, the surface knowledge, and then widening it, then deepening it, and giving them at length at a different level, so that the child becomes master of that particular skill set too. And that is going to make a difference. We'll take a break over here for 10 minutes, okay? And we'll rejoin. It's 4:30. We'll rejoin at 4:40, okay? I'm taking a break of 10 minutes so that we can have some tea or a coffee if you would like to have, but I will definitely like to have it. So I will join around 4:40 again. Yes. Let's continue. Hello. Whether I'm audible? Yes. Yes, can anyone tell me till what time we are supposed to continue? Just put it a message so. Just put a message that till what time we are supposed to continue. Okay. 5:30. That's perfectly fine. Thank you. So we were talking about the challenges, and one more eminent challenge which we look forward is normally it is 5:15 to 5:30. We'll carry on up to 5:15, then we'll keep some question and answers from 5:15 to 5:30. Now the another challenge which we find it out that how we are going to bring vocational education into the mainstream is ensuring professional training for preparation for quality vocational teachers. Now, that is a huge challenge because as of now, we don't have a very specific skill set trainers, teachers. We all are looking forward for the present teachers itself. And right from the schools to higher education, probably we have to demonstrate wider roles, wider perspective roles than what we are doing right now and teaching and learning. So, developing the capacity of vocational teachers in use of innovative pedagogical approaches in teaching and learning. Yes, and that's the reason probably NEP is talking about in a big way that the teachers training right from the schools is going to be of minimum 50 hours in a year. That is an academic year. So 50 hours every year, one has to go through different types of trainings. In that, the further breakups can be 25 hours into their pedagogical and 25 hours into other vocational skill development or other skill sets which the teacher need to have. Now, another game changer which is coming up and which we should see is pre-service training for short-term training courses for preparing vocational teachers, trainers through online and offline mode to be offered through States Council of Educational Research and Training, District Institutes of Education Training. Pre-service before entering into the school education, before entering into education itself. As we all know, schools do have a skill set of B.Ed or D.Ed. Now, D.Ed is no more enrollment is there needed for the school education. It is more of a B.Ed. So the moment B.Ed courses are as made mandatory, there is going to be a pre-service training before entering into the teaching. The teacher has to go through certain pre-service training, which may be short-term training courses preparing vocational teachers. That what sort of a enhancement one has to do apart from your regular educational degrees. A short-term course is going to be designed through online offline mode offered by through different state regulatory bodies As in Maharashtra, it is like SCRT, State Council for Educational Research and Training. They will be empowered to give such type of short-term training courses for the training for the teachers to uplift their skill. External trainers, experts in various vocations to be invited and train teachers at cluster resource centers. Now, the cluster resource centers are going to be the centers where 10 schools, 15 schools, colleges will be clubbed together, and expert trainers, experts in various vocations will be invited so that the present level of training or the capacity is to be built on. So, capacity building programs will be taken, block resource centers will be used, district industrial enterprises are going to be invited so that the upskilling or the knowledge upgradation or the capacity building is being done in a big way, ensuring that vocational training provides meet quality standards across institutions based on common norms. Everything has to have that quality. The right from the beginning, the national education policy is talking about quality as we are preparing the youth for tomorrow to be a global competent youth. At any level, quality cannot be compromised. At any level, the standards cannot be lower down. Rather, the threshold has to keep on improving. The benchmarking has to be close to the international standard, at par with the international standard. So the experts are going to be invited to uplift. And capacity building program is going to be one of the major, as I said, capacity building as 50 hours mandatory training is introduced in the school curriculums, in the school, you may say, framework. The same is going to be taken care in the higher education too. As we all know, we have in higher education the orientation program, the refresher program. For the refresher program, one segment, as we always know, works on the environmental learning also. Probably this segment is going to be attached. One more segment that is going to be the vocational upgrading of your vocational skills is going to be added to it. Ensuring vocational training providers meet quality standards, I've already said, and that too international standards. Fostering innovation in training of the teachers through partnership between various vocational education institutes and industries and research institute. We have to bring innovation. We just can't go with what skill set we have. We have to be as a perfect role model. Over here, the role of the teacher is going to change, and it is changing gradually, right from the schools to the colleges to the universities. What role is getting changed? Now, the NEP is talking about a teacher to be a facilitator, a teacher to be a guide, a teacher to be a mentor, a teacher to be a helper, a guide. That means what? A teacher need to be a very good observer of the learner. No doubt the diagnostic tools are there. No doubt the primary data can be taken care from the diagnostic tools, the various psychological tools. But once these diagnostic tools are being used, once the hidden potential is is being seen in a child, rather, in case even if we don't have sophisticated tools to understand the hidden potential of the child, but as a best teacher, as the true teacher, whether I am able to observe my child properly, whether I am able to see and bring out that hidden potential uh, which is hidden inside the child upfront and creating an environment. The teacher role over here is going to create an environment which is supportive environment, which is not hostile environment. An environment where the learning comes upfront, where learning becomes enjoyable, where learning is something which is enriching. The role of the teacher is to identify and facilitate. Henceforth, probably we were doing in the past also, but now we are supposed to do it more consciously. The moment I say the word consciously, I need to be vigilant. I need to be a good observer. Observer of whom? My child, my student. What is that potential? What is that hidden potential? And as we all know, every child, every learner has something hidden, has has potential. Even the children, those who are coming from the diversified background, even those who are coming from disadvantaged families, even if those who are disabled on physical or some other criterias, every child has potential. And I think the moment we are able to find that potential, our job becomes easier, and our job is to facilitate. Now, what to facilitate? My job is not to teach, but make the child more experienced, learning through experience. We are not here to teach them, but we are here to find that hidden potential in every child. And once that potential is being identified, then our job is to navigate. As a research scholar, as a PhD guide, what we are doing, as a researcher, what we do for our students, we guide them. They come up with their queries, when they come up with their questions, make them to feel to do it. And it should be a journey of a co-traveler rather than a journey all alone. Making the child conscious that you are there as a support system, you are there as a guide, you are there who is going to help the child, navigating the child, the challenges which are being faced by the child, you are there as a support system. As we know, children learn by observation. Yes, at the early age, it has a significant role, but lately also it can't be just taken away. Right from the childhood, the teachers has a very, very significant role to play in the shaping of the personality of the child. Yes, most of the time it is done in the schools, but the colleges do have their impact. But as a teacher, whether I'm an instructor, whether I'm dominating, whether I'm a taskmaster, whether I'm getting the things done against the wish, against the will, against the receptivity of the child, whether I'm an imposer or whether I'm giving them the space to learn. Vocational education is going to be successful when we are going to see the interest of the child. Somewhere I have read, somewhere I have gone through that if you want to be a true teacher, a true facilitator, you can't teach it, but you can show that what you are able to do it. It goes by this way: nothing can be taught, but teach by being it. It's a very powerful statement, very powerful slogan, if I say. Nothing can be taught, but teach by being it. Whatever, as a teacher, as a facilitator, whether I am capable of doing it, the moment you are capable of doing it, for the learner, it becomes easier to follow you. It should not look like an alien thought or an alien thing, a subject, maybe mathematics, maybe science, maybe robotics, maybe artificial intelligence, maybe programming. I know that we can't be expert in every domain knowledge. But if I'm going and teaching a particular subject without knowing it fully, without experiencing it fully, probably, yes, I'm not able to do justice with my teaching. And at the same time, when I said, teach by being it, it means You bring that thing in you first and then you navigate. It will become a joyful journey. Otherwise, it will be a journey which is a forced journey. It is a learning which is a forced learning. So being a perfect role model, being a perfect example for the child, as a teacher, as a professor, as a senior lecturer, as an associate professor, whichever category you may be, see that you are living by an example. And that will make a huge difference. Living by an example, the students imitate. And if you show them, and if you're able to carry that goodness, student will carry, try to follow you, not in the spirit, but in the walk also. As a facilitator, I need not to talk more, but I have to walk more. And that is going to make the journey of learning and facilitating enjoyable. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very shallow. It's not going to yield the results for what we are looking forward. And at the same time, the second important thing which we can do is understand what the child needs, what the learner is in need. Whether it is in a vocational branch, whether it's in a technical, whether it's in a skill, we need to consult the child's readiness, the child's receptivity, what the child wants and how the child wants. At times it becomes easier what the child wants. But how are we going to deliver it? What is going to be our methodology? What is going to be our pedagogy? What way we are going to make it that the child is going to learn it? We have to see that. So consult the mind of the child or the learner. Let us be more specific. Consult the mind of the learner, what he is looking from you. As a mentor, as a guide, we are supposed to understand. And that understanding is very, very significant. And to be a successful vocational or as a teacher or as a academician, I always should start from simple to complex. Yes, this new domain knowledge, this new vertical or vocational education, skill education has lot of challenges, no doubt about it. There are challenges. There people may not accept it as easy as we are thinking, okay? But we have remedies to it. We have worked on the various challenges, how we are going to overcome. But see that, can we start from the local skills? Can we start from the local tribal skills if you're working in a tribal domain, if you're working in a rural domain, if you're working in some other domains? See that what is close to them, not which is very far to them. The moment we try to give them something which is far away from them, not intellectually, but at times, time-wise also, they will feel disconnected. See that whatever is being offered in the skill is local. And then from there, from near, you can go to the far. From simple to complex. From known to unknown. Yes, that should be the journey. And then it is going to make it more impactful. And when we talk about the National Education Policy 2020, as we know, it has given its importance to vocational education in a very big way. But to me, as a facilitator, as a teacher, your role becomes very, very significant. And we need to have that capacity development of teachers to boost the employability skills and the vocational skills of the learners at all the levels. We need to build our capacities too. We can't remain what we were 5 years back, 4 years back. No, we have to keep on doing our capacity buildings. And that's where the various mock courses, that's where various online courses, that's where the Google Garage is there. Who offers the digital courses? The teachers, those who are into commerce background, can understand the significance of digital marketing today, digital sales today, online products, the way the range of products are coming, the way the groceries are reaching your home. Previously, it was all electronics and electronics goods. Today, your grocery is at your at your doorsteps. Today, the hotel industries is at your doorstep. Today, the food is at your doorstep. How effectively we are going to make the digital presence, how significantly we can sell out our products. So you as a teacher, as a facilitator, has to keep on building one's own capacity. One more thing, not for the academic purpose, but for the intellectual purpose. See that that growth is visible. See that you are one step ahead than your learners. No doubt the learners are smart. They are going to be smarter, but we are supposed to have an edge. But that edge does not mean that we should have an ego. We should learn from the learner too. That openness as a facilitator will build your capacity because, yes, vocational education, skill development are going to be the integral part of the mainstream tomorrow for 100%. Whether there is rigidity to it, whether there is resistance to it, whether there is non acceptability at this time, but that is going to be the reality tomorrow. Because I have read somewhere skill development in context with the skill development. The line says, skill hai to kal hai. If you have the skill, tomorrow belongs to you. But if you don't have the skill and if you are not able to sharpen your skills, tomorrow will belong to somebody else. But definitely it is going to belong. But it is not going to belong to us. It's going to belong to somebody else. So yes, capacity building of teachers to boost the employability skills and vocational skills of all the learners at all the levels. Quality of vocational education is to be enhanced by identifying, designing, and development of vocational courses that meet the common norms and the skill standards identified at national level. Non-compromising, non-inferiority. It should be competent. It should be developed in such a by certain standards that it is not only accepted at national level but even at international level too. Accreditation of vocational courses and registration of providers should also enhance the quality and sustainability of vocational education programs, and it should include the process of selection and recruitment of teachers, the selection of students, the endure delivery assessment, awarding qualifications to the students. At every level, the quality should not be compromised. At every stage, the quality, the evaluation, the impact, the employability, the internship, the apprenticeship, it should not just be a piece of paper that 6 months somebody has done. No, it should be properly designed. It should be job instructional training. It should be on the job training. Now that's the challenge, okay? A teacher has to have networking now. I just can't be restrained with my own domain, my own faculty. I need to cross the uh, boundaries of inter-faculties. I need to pay inquisitiveness. What is happening in the management? Even if I'm a graduate, subject teacher of English language, what is happening in other subjects, in other faculties? That inquisitiveness is going to play a very, very significant role in implementing skill-based or knowledge-based, yes, skill-based vocational courses success. The administration and the management of the vocational education system as a whole and the provision of a student support service would require a strong system of capacity development of the stakeholders at all the levels. We will need academic leadership. Now, these academic leaders are the vice chancellor, the pro vice chancellor, the deans, the principals of the colleges. We need a visionary leadership, and that is what the academic leadership. A leader which is not only saying but working on it, following the footstep, is walk the talk, and integrated, the one who has a lot of integrity, passion, devotion. Because if we really want to make our student world competent, as we know very recently, before this war between Israel, America, and Iran, our Prime Minister visited Israel, and Israel has asked for 50,000 skilled labor from our country. So you can imagine what is going to happen, because we are the largest as far as the population is concerned, and we are the largest in the segment of youth category also. We can become the world human resource providers. We can have the best of the human resources, which will be provided to the world today. World economy is looking for youth from India, visionary youth from India, skill capable youth of India, at the same time cultured and value based. Because skills without values, skills without integrity is of no use. We are supposed to give skills, at the same time we are supposed to give the integrity, at the same time we are supposed to give them the values, the moral values attached to the skills. The moment it is only the skill and if the values are missed out, probably we are not going to be successful. Everyone has to consider as my national dharma. My whole thing is going to be having that integrity. I should consider it as my national service. Today we find it out. Yes, there are people, those who have skill sets, but they lack integrity. They lack values. For a very simple example, you have a plumber issue at your home, and you find it out you are not able to control the water flowing because something went wrong with the tap, and there is no way that you can stop it. And you call the plumber, and the plumber says, I will come after 2 hours. That 2 hours, you're going to waste that water for next 2 hours. We need a proper plumber who will going to see the national waste as the waste of his personal waste. That sort of a value attached. कौशल्यों के साथ में संस्कृति भी चाहिए. कौशल्य सिर्फ आने से नहीं हो जाएगा. सिर्फ कौशल्य मिल गए तो हम यशस्वी नहीं हो पाएंगे. हमें उसके साथ में संस्कार भी लगेंगे, और उसके लिए एक संस्कारों से भरा हुआ मार्गदर्शक भी लगेगा, जो आप हैं. क्योंकि बच्चे आपका अनुसरण करते हैं, बच्चे आपको फॉलो करते हैं, चाहे वो कितना भी बड़ा हो, कितना भी छोटा हो. छोटे तो ज्यादा फॉलो करते हैं, बड़े में शायद अपनी एक समझ आ जाती है, लेकिन फिर भी हम बहुत बड़ा इन्फ्लुएंसर रहते हैं. आज समाज में इन्फ्लुएंसर की बहुत बात होती है, तो एज ए टीचर आप भी एक बहुत बड़े इन्फ्लुएंसर हैं, वो हमें कभी भूलना नहीं चाहिए. Best practices in the vocational education and training with focus on specific criteria which can be replicated in different institutes in relevant area need to be identified. इसके कारण बहुत सारी रिसोर्स शेयरिंग होगी, बहुत सारे ह्यूमन रिसोर्स शेयर होंगे, बहुत सारे क्लस्टरिंग शुरू होगी. As we all know, NEP 2025, by 2035, we have almost 45,000 colleges pan India. And the objective at the 2035, now you can say 2037, because of the pandemic, we have started a bit late with implementing the National Education Policy 2020. So we may be off target by 2 years, but by 2037, the target is that we are going to make clusters of 15,000 colleges. Means reducing 45 to 15, that means sharing of the resources. That means we are going to share human resources. We are going to share the equipments. We may be share designs. We may be sharing curriculums, spaces, infrastructure, so that we can reach out to the maximum. And yes, that's a challenge, but yes, that's very, very possible too. At the same time, we are supposed to see that we'll promote effectiveness in pedagogy and other aspects of implementation too. Uniform pedagogy, implementation, and at the same time, evaluation too. That is going to make a huge difference. And we have to see that we are nowhere mismatching with what the industry is expecting and what we are giving. The bigger the gap between the industry and the academia, probably we are going to have a lot of unemployability. The lesser the gap between industries and the academia, less number of unemployability, because we are matching with the expectations of industry. Our curriculum should be designed in such a way where we are one step ahead than the industry. Today, or in the last decade, if you see, there was a huge gap. And the huge gap is this much that the industries used to say that whatever graduate you are sending to us, we have to retrain them for 6 months, at times 1 year also, because the skill set with which they are coming are not helping them to acquire the skill set what we are in demand of. So we have to see that can we bridge. And that bridging is going to happen if we are going to constantly upgrade our syllabus, constantly upgrade our modules, constantly upgrade our pedagogies and methodology. That will make a huge difference. And that is where, if we are able to successfully bridge that gap, and we have to see what is the need in the market today. We can't just offer what we are offering, okay? We have to see what is the market. We have to design the courses according to that. We just can't go with still with the Java. We have to see what other languages have came up. Our syllabuses, if they are still teaching Java and Python, we have to move beyond that. We have to move beyond artificial intelligence. We have to move beyond electronics. We need to do something different. What is that which is needed in the market today? It may be financial literacy, it may be banking, it may be stock markets, it may be crypto, it may be so many things. We have to see what are the gaps. We have to see what new we have to learn as a teacher, as a facilitator. I can't remain rigid. I can't just be like a net set PhD qualified teacher. I had to add on. I have to add on something in every academic year. We have to move on from our academic performance indicators to a different level. We have to see learning new skills. Whether I'm better than what I was yesterday, even an inch movement forward is welcomed. But you have to keep on enriching your own qualifications also, not the degrees. And bring that along with the degree, you're supposed to bring that knowledge. Improving the existing one. Yes, we have to improve. If I've learned something, I just can't keep it as it is. I have to improve on. I have to see that what next I can learn. I need to work on my soft skills too. Because today, yes, hardware is good. Absolutely, hardware is good. But what about the software? And we find it out there is terribly wrong something in the software, and that software is how you're maintaining the human relations, how you communicate with your partner, how you communicate with your colleagues. Are you empathetic about the demands? Are you sympathetic? Are you soft spoken? And at the same time, an efficient leader. So only skill development is not going to suffice. We have to give a support system, and that support system is going to be our soft skills, emotional learning or emotional intelligence, communication, critical thinking, teamwork, because ultimately that is what is the demand of the hour is. We find scientists doing all the things all alone much better. They are not able to do especially well when it comes to the team. They don't know the group dynamism. They don't know how the communication has to be done, verbal, written, whatever way it may be. So we need that these soft skills have to be learned. They have to be imbibed. You can't learn them. They're supposed to be in your habit. You have to make your habits. Small efforts, small tasks that will make big habits coming in a big way. So somewhere along with the hard skills, along with the technical proficiency, we need soft skills too. I think University of Pune, elsewhere University of Pune, under the able leadership of Professor Narendra Jadhav, the former Vice Chancellor, introduced soft skills way back 15 years back, 15, 16 years back. That every graduate, irrespective of the stream, irrespective of arts, commerce, science, has to prepare for the soft skills. And in that soft skills, how to face interviews, how to have group discussions, how to have team building exercise, how to have perfect communication, negotiation skills, bargaining. Because there are a lot of discussions before you actually accept a job offer. A lot of negotiations goes. And there talks about your mental strength, how much mentally you're strong, how long you can negotiate, where you know to stop, where you find it out that I have to begin. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What is that threatens you? And what are your opportunities? So a lot of software has to be developed. Hardware alone will not lead us to the beautiful thing. Yes, they are necessity, no doubt about it. I will conclude by saying that hardwares are runways. Hardwares are going to create the runways. But if you want to take off smoothly, and if you want to land smoothly, probably we need soft skills more. Because that is going to be the epitome of the success. Because at the end of the day, what we all look for something better. We look for something good. We all would like to be happy at the end of the day. Everyone wants that. That I think that is the basic need of everyone, that we would all like to be happy. Choosing a profession but being unhappy is of no use. Choosing a profession, a career, a job, which gives me a lot of happiness, doing by it, probably that should be our objective. That your student at the end of the day should be happy, not by the package, but by the work which he is doing, by the work he is bringing into the lives of others, enriching the lives of others, making this world more beautiful for living. That is what should be the objective ultimately. Because objective is not earning money. Yes, that is there. But money which brings happiness too, satisfaction too, and a lot of mental peace. Because at the end of the day, our physical health do matter, but our mental health is equally, rather more important at times with the physical health too. So see that the whole uh, system of bringing skill development with a lot of prosperity and with a lot of happiness And that can only happen when we become a true facilitator, a true teacher, a true navigator, a navigator who is sensitive, is having a lot of humanity into it, and a lot of love and passion for the subject and for the teaching community. Now I'm opening this session open for question and answers. If you have question, it's 5:20 if I'm not wrong. Yes, more than 5:20. You can ask me the question, and on top of it, you can definitely give me the feedback, because that encourages me also to carry on for almost 2.5 hours or 3 hours, whatever sessions I normally take. Uh, your feedback is quite significant for me to bring whatever changes I would like to bring it out in my next sessions. And I'm thankful to the Academic Staff College. What opportunities do you provide to help us? Can you unmute yourself and be vocal, because sometimes I'm not able to read out the whole message, but I will still see that if I can read your message. Okay? Just a minute. There's a question from Professor Sunil. He's asking, what opportunities do you provide to help us improve our communication and soft skills in class? Yes, there are certain things which we can definitely keep in our mind when we talk about the soft skill. Number one is we are supposed to work on ourselves first. That is the primary thing which we can do it. We as a teacher need to have a lot of self-confidence, clarity, courage, so that the same thing can be invited to the student. Somewhere we have to work on ourselves more composed, more articulated, more straightforward, and best communicator without hurting the feelings of others. So yes, it always starts with self. As a facilitator, I should be a correct role model for my students, best role model for my students, and they will slowly, steadily start following you up. Yes, whenever the challenges do come, whether they are personal challenges or the challenges at the professional level, we should have a very good listening skills too, a very patient listening skill that will make huge difference in the development of the personality of the child. Yes. So we are at the fag end of our session. I'm thankful to the institute. I'm thankful to the Pandit Malviya Mission for the Teachers Training, who has invited me to deliver a talk on skill development and NEP 2020. I'm thankful to Dr. Rafe, who time and again gives me an opportunity to interact with this learned audience, and the director of the center too. Though this is your last day, I would like to wish you all the very best for your upcoming academic year, and definitely for the students who are going to face their exams around the corner. Yes, it was nice. Rafi said it was good to have an interaction with this audience. Thank you very much. With this, we will conclude, or you have any formalities to be done? I have a question. May I ask? Yes, you can ask your question. Shivananda ji, you can write your question. I will try to answer it. You can definitely write the question. I will answer it. Thank you for your feedback. Those who have sent, thank you, thank you. There are so many thank you. Oh my God. Yes. If you're finding it difficult to type, you can unmute. If you can unmute yourself and ask.
पार्टिसिपेट आप सभी को परमिशन दी गई है, आप अनम्यूट होके बात कर सकते हैं।
Right from our education system, right from the schools, we find that even the schools are not the happening spaces today. Schools are where the parents are forcing their children to go to the school. Schools are not where the child actually wants to go and learn, and that was so much evident even in today's scenario, where the learner is not ready to go, but the facilitator is ready to give everything. When the learner is not there, that means something is wrong with the education system, was wrong with the education system. Where the learner is not ready, the children are forced, even if we see a young boy or a girl for maybe studying in third standard, fourth standard, fifth standard, they are not so happy to go into the schools. The reason? The reason is very simple, that schools are not giving what they're looking for. If they're looking for happy spaces, secured spaces, space for their own development or understanding their own needs, I think that is what is carry on from the schools to the colleges. Something has to be brought into the system which will encourage their participation. Case studies, group discussions in a big way, platform where their concerns, their grievances, their questions are heard, responded, and responded in a positive manner. They should be feel heard. They should be feel listened. Okay, somebody is listening to them and working on them. Probably, yes, we are supposed to see that whatever we are offering is something which is going to really help in building their career. And that's where we are supposed to match up. Okay, so the distance, as I mentioned, what the market is asking and what we are offering. If there is not going to be a match, and if they are going to be distant, okay, if there is no going to be correlation, I'm saying correlation of a highest degree, positive correlation, probably yes, the attendance in the classroom will improve. But if there is a lot of disagreement, or there is a lot of what I will say, not exactly homogeneity, but there is going to be a lot of heterogeneity happening outside and what we are offering. Probably why I'm going to sit in a classroom which is not associated anyway helping me for choosing my career or getting me an employability. No. Probably I will find it out that I will better to go for my MPSC preparation classes or UPSC, or I will do something, a practical course which will fetch me my bread and the butter. So we have to work somewhere very close what the learner actually is seeking and what as a teacher I'm providing. The lesser the gap, more the attendance. Bigger the gap, more the absenteeism. So bridge that gap, that what they are looking and what we are offering. If what you are offering and what they are expecting matches or they have a very good correlation, probably yes, the student attendance of the students will increase in the classroom for sure. We have to see what are the needs of the students are. I hope I have answered your question. We can still ask the question, okay? Anyone else who would like to ask? Most welcome. I think we have done with the questions. If anyone still wishes, can inbox the message. Yes, sir, is there any scope for the disabled in new education system? Yes, there is a lot of scope for the disabled. Divyang uh, students, learners have a lot of scope, and the curriculum is designed, rather, I would say, there is a shift from teacher centric to the learner centric. So the learner's perspective is taken into consideration, and there is a conscious effort which is being made that even the disabled are to be brought into the mainstream education, though there is samagra shikshan, but we are supposed to move beyond samagra shikshan to ekatmik shikshan, where there is a complete holistic development of the child. And NEP for the first time is doing it. They are not just developing the cognitive development of the child, but they are looking for the physical, emotional, and even the inner growth of the child. And as far as the disabled are concerned, yes, it is all inclusive education which they are talking about. Special, you may say, schemes run for them, and special, a lot of instrumentation has came into the picture. That's how technology can help them learn things faster and make them more capable of handling their own things. So yes, there is a lot of scope for the disabled too in the new education system. आप सब लोगों का शुक्रिया जिन्होंने अप्रिशिएट किया. Is UGC arrange specific course for them? I need to check whether the UGC is arranging any specific courses for them. I'm a bit unknown about it, but yes, if you, this is Sandeep ji. If I get any information, I will pass it to Rakesh sir about it, and he can pass to you further. But UGC is working on, in accordance with the Rehabilitation Council of India, in a very big way, in enabling the disabled in a big way. So you can definitely reach out to Rehabilitation Council of India on their website, which can definitely help you to get the specific answer. Rehabilitation Council of India, which works for the disabled and multiple disabilities too, right from the visionaries to the what I would say mentally challenged too. Probably this batch was an excellent batch with not many questions. After many sessions, I got an audience who was receptive for the questions. Thank you very much. We still have time if you have any questions. So shall we call off the day? Okay, then I will leave the session. Thank you to the organizers and thank you to all the participants for the patient listening. Thank you very much.